Hi guys, I'm here to tell you about my story and my journey with Crohn's disease. I thought it would be really fun to tell my story. It's been a long journey. I got diagnosed with Crohn's at 15 years old, and even at that time, I knew that this was going to be something that I wanted to help others with, or it's going to be useful in my journey somehow. I'm a Christian and I believe in God, and I believe that this was meant to be part of my journey. I definitely don't feel blessed with it, but I definitely believe it's something that was it was my journey. This is part of what I've been put on this earth for, and so I've had to suffer through a lot. I'm 32 years old now, and I was diagnosed at 15, and it's been a really long journey. I did not find relief until 2016, so 4 years ago as of this video, and so it was a really long time until I found relief from my Crohn's disease symptoms. And so I thought I would share with you guys what has happened and what I've done and all these different things I've tried, and kind of my testimony and what this journey looked like for me as a newly diagnosed Crohn's patient. And then now I'm a good old regular. I know the drill, and have had countless colonoscopies and don't have a problem talking about poop. And it's a wild ride, and all I want to do now is help people find relief from their symptoms and their digestive diseases that they're dealing with. I have a mother with colitis and proctitis. I have a sister with celiacs, and my dad, I'm pretty positive, has something, but he's been doing all right with life, so he just does his own thing. So to start, I got mono when I was 12 years old, and I can get into a whole rant about Epstein-Barr, but I won't. Maybe at a later date I can talk about my theories, and actually there's some good research out there from 2018 about Epstein-Barr, so we could talk about that another day. But I was diagnosed with mono when I was 12 years old. At 14, I got this weird rash on my shin, and it was really sensitive to touch. Like, I could barely touch it, and it was like a 10 out of 10 pain, like crazy sensitive. And I wish I could remember what the name of that is, but my doctor, when I was 21, actually said that was a precursor to Crohn's disease, so which verifies my theories with Epstein-Barr even more. I also got lactose intolerance when I was 14 years old, so I had to start limiting my diet. And at 15, I woke up with severe cramping, and my parents took me to the hospital, and the doctors diagnosed me with Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease is just the inflammation of your digestive system. I have it in my ileum, which is the part of your intestine that connects your small intestine to your large intestine, and that's where it is. And there's like some pretty intense narrowing right there. So it's pretty common for people with Crohn's disease to get it right there, and it can easily cause obstructions in your digestion. And I've had 2 obstructions in my Crohn's disease journey. I have not had to remove any of my colon, thank God. And so 15, got diagnosed, went on prednisone, terrible drug, was on it for 4 years, tell doctors that now, and they're just like, I can't believe a doctor that did that to you. And I just wonder, like, what in the world has happened to my body, because I've been pumped full of all these drugs, and who knows what has happened. it's a little scary to think about how many things could go wrong with the medications you go on because you want to feel better. And that's the only thing the doctors know at the time. And I thought, well, maybe food has to do with it since it's my digestive system. And they're like, no, you can eat whatever you want. There's no cure, so you might as well eat whatever you want. And this medication will keep your symptoms under control. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just keep eating donuts and, I don't know, mac and cheese, whatever. I like toaster strudels. I love toaster strudels at the time. And anyway, so I was on prednisone for a long time, 4 years. And after that, I took myself off of it at 18. I just realized this doesn't seem right. Something's wrong. So I took myself off of it. I went to college. My parents found me this alternative doctor, and my mom was giving me a shot in my butt once a month, and it was helping. It helped for a year. Doctor wanted to change it up after that because it wasn't working anymore. It was so expensive, put my parents in debt. So we stopped that. My parents took me to the Mayo Clinic, and I got re-diagnosed with Crohn's disease. That was confirmed for a second time. And then they set me up with a doctor in Asheville, North Carolina, which was where I was going to college at the time. And that doctor was incredible. He was wonderful. He put me on Remicade, which was a biologic, and it helped at the time, but it's also a really severe immune suppressant. So I spent a summer in Yosemite where whooping cough went through our camp, and I got whooping cough. I also got shingles. I've had shingles 3 times in my life. And so that's pretty crazy. And then he was a good doctor. He was trying to encourage me to eat better. He encouraged FODMAPs. FODMAPs is a great protocol to follow for Crohn's patients. It works for most Crohn's patients to avoid those things. And so that's kind of when I started my journey of food, because I was like, okay, maybe I need to try all these things. And so I started down this road of, well, let's see what works, what doesn't. So obviously I gave FODMAPs a try. After college was crazy, and college is crazy, and it's very stressful. You're under a lot of stress to make good grades. You have a lot of friends, and you're doing a lot of fun things. And so every year I'd be fine throughout the year. I'd have like some small symptoms, but every single summer, no doubt, the stress was finally gone. I could finally relax. My body flares like crazy because I've been holding all that stress in my gut. And all of a sudden there's no more stress. So my body can finally try to relax, and boom, my body goes crazy. So I would try to get a job. A week or 2 in, I'd have to quit and go home. So just was not a very sustainable or happy life, because I just could not live my life the way I wanted to. It was really strange, and I just suffered through life at that point. And I was giving different diets a try and trying different foods and trying to figure out what would work, and nothing seemed to really make that big of a difference. I was gluten-free at that time and dairy-free. I love donuts. And so donuts, sweets were my huge, I just had to eat them. So I was not very good at it, but I, for the most part, was gluten-free and dairy-free throughout that time. After college, I traveled a lot. I went a bunch of different places. I went to Australia. I came home after Australia, and sorry, my phone, I thought was going to fall over, my cat. And after home, I just went through some stuff at home, and it was kind of a lot, and my body went a little bit crazy. But I moved to Washington. That was a weird season. A really difficult season, but a good season. I was struggling in my faith and trying to figure out, maybe this isn't the right answer. Maybe I need to, try something else. And I don't know. I just was trying to open my mind to, other options. Like, maybe this was not, I just needed to find my own faith and find my own like reason for life, you know? And so it was a weird season. It was a really good season though, and I'm glad I went through it when I did, because my next season I met my husband and I moved to California and I met him there. We were outdoor educators at the time, and I was still trying different diets. At the time, I was trying something called the specific carb diet. It's really good for colitis patients. And it was sort of working, but not really. I was already lactose intolerant, but I was supposed to be eating yogurt, and so I was trying it anyway, and it was sort of doing the trick, but just not the best. So anyway, so we got married, and I, I started nannying, because I realized that I have a degree in outdoor education, and that's what I had been doing out of college, was outdoor education, and I just realized I couldn't sustain that anymore. My body just couldn't keep up with how much it was like draining me, and there's just so many aspects that go into Crohn's disease. You have to think about your physical, emotional stressors, and what you're eating. It's a lot, and I think that being an outdoor educator made it really difficult. So I went away from that. I started nannying, and nannying in California makes a lot of money, so that was really good for us. But I went into a flare because that ended up being kind of stressful. And I had a small obstruction, so they ballooned my colon up to open that space up a little bit more. And so that sort of solved it. I was still on azathioprine at the time. I've been on that since Asheville. So when I was 21, I started that. I'm still on it at 32. I haven't been able to get off of it. So California ended up being way too expensive for us, so we had to move. We moved to New Mexico. His parents had a condo there. They let us stay in that condo, which was so sweet, and I was still in a flare at the time. So I was able to recover. I ended up going into ministry for about 3 years there, and worked at a church and worked with some really awesome people there. And 2016, I had a bowel obstruction, and that obstruction kind of created a lot of trauma in this story for me. I was hospitalized for 6 days. They put me on Solumedrol, which was another steroid. So it blew me up. Like, I looked like the Michelin Man, like I was like taking on all this water weight from the drip I was on, and my heart rate went down to 30, and it was just really crazy and really scary, and I was in a lot of pain too, and they couldn't find any veins, so it was just like one of those things where it's like I felt like I was a pincushion, and I am so grateful that my husband was there, and my mom ended up flying in as well and helping. But at that point, that was like probably the lowest point in my life of Crohn's disease, and I had been trying so many different things and so many different diets at that point, and really working hard on my health in a diet form, and nothing was working. So I got home, I was done. I'm like, nothing works. I can't do anything. I obviously am going to be on medication the rest of my life. And I went through this weird phase of antibiotics for 4 months from a doctor, and that made it worse. And I was in incredible pain. I probably was in this flare for 6 whole months of insane, probably 8 or 9, and then sometimes 10 out of 10 pain daily. And throughout my day, it was the worst. And anyway, my best friend Amy Moore, calling her out, she told me to try AIP, one more diet, autoimmune paleo, and it literally changed my life. I owe autoimmune paleo for helping me find healing. I could never have done this journey without it, and I've not been in a flare for 4 years, and I've never had that in my life. Thanks for watching. So I had to do a little follow-up with that because it did change my life a lot. Autoimmune paleo, that is, but I seriously couldn't have done it without the people that were surrounding me and the support system I had in place. And it made a huge difference. It makes a huge difference when you have the right people in your life that are there to support you, there to take care of you, love you through it, love you through your pain, and then are willing to try the food with you. I got really lucky, and my husband is not picky about food, and he will eat anything I put on the table, even if we went through some weird phases with baking, and poor guy suffered through that. But and this is not everybody's story. This is my story. Your story might be you have to cook for yourself, and you have to cook completely different meals for the rest of your family. And that's completely exhausting. And I know that that can be so hard when you're trying to cook for yourself and you don't feel good. Like, I remember eating or like trying to start this new diet, and I was in so much pain. Like, for 2 weeks, I could not function properly while I was trying this diet, and they wanted me to make bone broth. What the heck is bone broth? So I had to like learn all these new things on top of feeling terrible. And it was just a very difficult time, but I can't imagine trying to do that and cook your normal meals for your family. So having a really like a good support system, getting your family on board, your healing is important. You are important. It's important for you to feel better so that you can live your life normally. And you got to have the support there. And some people don't, and they can still do it. And I know you can. Like, it's not going to be an easy journey, but I know that it can happen, and it's your journey, and that's what's important. Also, I think another really important thing to say is I'm still on medication, and I haven't been able to come off of it. A couple weeks ago, I had a flare because I missed 2 days of my medication, and I was in severe pain, and I went to the bathroom multiple times, and it was because I was off of medication. And that's extremely discouraging, but there's still no cure for this disease and for most autoimmune diseases. So like, like, you can only do so much, and you can only expect so much from this world. And I'm still on it. I hope maybe one day I get to come off of it, because, like, what if we want kids? What if we want to have kids? And it's like, I'm 32 already. If I'm going to have kids, I need to like be thinking about that soon. And I can't come off of my medication for even 2 days, and it's an immune suppressant, and I can't have it when I'm pregnant. What the heck am I going to do? It's just like, there's a lot of things that go into an autoimmune disease that people just don't realize is extremely debilitating, and it changes your life. But that doesn't mean like your life is over, and I think realizing that at 15, that this is going to change my life, but I want to use it for good, and this is going to be a positive part of my journey, and it has turned into that. I went to school to be a functional nutritional practitioner, and I'm graduating very soon, and I have already been helping clients. I've already been helping people that have been in digestive distress for decades. Not just like a couple years, decades. And they're already feeling better. And it's like, this is like my dream. Like, I can't believe that God put me through this crazy journey, this crazy story of mine. And now I get to use it for good. Like, I don't know. I just think it's incredible to see what can happen in your life. And my journey's not over. This is just like, I'm only 32, you know? So I have so much more to give still. And I just am so excited that I get to actually help people feel better. And I found my own journey to be very difficult, but I've found healing, and God is working on me, and I get to help other people find that same feeling. And anyway, I hope that this was maybe hopeful or giving some kind of encouragement. So I just want to say also that if you're on that journey, you're still trying to find relief, the Nutritional Therapy Association, you can go to their website and find practitioners near you if you'd like to see a practitioner in person. If you want to see me, I do discovery calls. They're just 20-minute phone calls to find out if we're a good fit. And I do over the internet. I mean, I've been working with people in Tennessee, and I live in Oregon, people in California. So I am just kind of embracing, I moved all over the place, and I'm just embracing what that journey looks like for me. But healing is possible for you. And if nutritional therapy sounds like something that would be helpful to you and would improve your journey, I would love to work with you. You can always shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to help.